The headlines. Democrat prepared to impeach U.S. President Trump over Wednesday Capitol riots. Indonesia's diverse search for crashed plane for black box. COVID-19 England Chief Medical Director urges people to minimize unnecessary contacts. Good afternoon. Here is World News read by Oloije Oihohai. The publisher of Sahara Reporters, Omoyele Sowore, has been granted 20 million naira bail by a magistrate court sitting in Wuse Zone 2, Abuja. Jawon Salu, Peter Muslim, Emmanuel Bulus, and Damila Adenola, who were arrested along with Sowore, were equally granted 1 million naira bail each. 5 of them were arrested on the New Year Eve in Abuja for organizing and holding a protest. They were charged with conspiracy, unlawful assembly, and incitement. The federal government has mandated companies in Nigeria to employ qualified Nigerians graduates understudying for expatriate or face sanctions. A statement by the chairman of the Special Ministerial Task Force on Monitoring and Enforcement of Nigerian Expatriate Business Permits and Expatriate Quota Administration, Bola Ilori, disclosed this after a meeting with representatives of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Nigerian Labour Congress, Nigerian Bar Association, Nigeria Society of Engineers, and other professional bodies and officials of the Ministry of Interior. Ilori, at the end of the meeting, told companies to submit their details of Nigeria's understudying expatriates to verify their sincerity or otherwise to the policy of face heavy sanction from the federal government. Ilori maintained that the task force would ensure that Nigerians were no longer denied the opportunities to work in companies in the country by foreigners and other collaborators. In the early hours of yesterday, gutted parts of the headquarters of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Abuja. ITV Abuja correspondent John Turner reports that men of the Federal Fire Service and other federal firefighters assisted in putting out the fire.
About 1,000 meters to the headquarters of the Nigerian Immigration Service, one would have been wondering what the incident would look like. However, upon arrival, ITV crew were denied access into the building. An officer at the gate said they were directed not to allow journalists except they obtained special permission from the public relations officer, Mr. Sunday James. ITV crew called his phone lines severally without any response. An official of the fire service who spoke off camera confirmed the incident. He disclosed that the inferno started at about 6 a.m. Sunday morning. While the crew were still at the entrance gate waiting, a federal fire service truck was seen driving into the premise at the afternoon period. It paints a picture that firemen were still at work, though the expected huge smoke have disappeared. In a post on its Twitter account, the NIS confirmed the incident, saying it has been brought under control. Meanwhile, a source disclosed to our correspondent that it will take the grace of God to retrieve some of the official documents affected by the fire incident. The service has, however, confirmed the fire incident through its Twitter handle, saying the inferno affected some of its offices. John Turner, ITV News, Abuja.
3 officers have been killed and 2 others injured after gunmen invaded Onrike police station in Eze local government area of Ebonyi State. The policemen were attacked by suspected gunmen who stormed the police station on Friday night. Confirming the developments, spokesperson Ebonyi State Police Command, DSP Loveth Oda, said investigations are underway to apprehend the perpetrators. She said some arrests have been made while efforts are still on to apprehend others at large. DSP Oda disclosed that the gunmen invaded the police station and opened fire on the officers on duty, which led to the killing of 3 policemen and injuring 2 others. A woman who was said to be in her house within the premises of the police station was also killed.
There was no issue, which means it's not just I don't call it it's faceless people, that is hoodlums, criminals that did that. Yes, they took away 2 of our AK-47 rifle, and the situation is under control. So we made some arrests, yes, in connection of the case, and I know investigation is seriously going. In no distant time, we should be able to bring up the perpetrators for justice, because it is too much.
The SP order said normalcy has since returned to the area, pointing out that the situation is now under control. Commuters plying the Maduguri highway have lamented delay, kidnapped, robbery and attack on the highway. The commuters are calling for more military presence to checkmate the activities of the kidnappers and terrorists. Chief of Training and Operations, Nigerian Army, Major General Nuhu Agbazo, however, assured motorists to adequate security on the Maduguri highway.
With the attendant abduction of some travelers along road Maduguri-Damaturu, road Maduguri-Biu, as well as the recent skirmishes experienced along road Damaturu-Biu, has necessitated the need for urgent steps to check these unwholesome acts. Therefore, the Nigerian Army launched Operation Tura Takebongo to effectively checkmate this situation.
On Saturday, 9th of January 2021, a federal high court in Abuja dismissed the petition filed by the All Progressive Congress, APC, alleging that Governor Godwin Obaseki forged his university certificates. The presiding judge, Justice Ahmed Muhammad, said the plaintiff failed to prove their case. In this special report, Beston Bureau, who has been monitoring political events in the state, chronicles the political journey of Governor Godwin Obaseki right from the party's governorship primary to the issue of litigation.
The second-term governorship ambition of Mr. Godwin Obaseki was obviously not a smooth ride following his controversial disqualification from contesting the APC governorship primary by the Professor Jonathan Ayuba-led APC governorship screening committee, a development that forced the state governor to resign his membership of the APC, but his decision was after his meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja.
I said that I'll make a decision after my disqualification was announced by APC. I'm just here today to inform you that I have now decided formally to resign my membership of the All Progressive Congress.
The state governor thereafter began consultation with top leaders of the People's Democratic Party for a possible defection to the party, a request that was granted. The leadership of the People's Democratic Party on June 19, 2020, received Governor Godwin Obaseki and his deputy Comrade Phyllis Shuaibu into the umbrella which the PDP described as an umbrella of comfort at the state PDP secretariat when they presented the party's card to the governor and his deputy. Although some PDP stalwarts, including the member representing Oedo Federal Constituency, Dr. Moegi Ogbedehama, Barrister Kenneth Imaswagbon, and Engineer Gideon Ihine, were serious contenders for the PDP governorship ticket, the trio later stepped down for Mr. Godwin Obaseki on the grounds that he deserved a second term owing to his remarkable achievements in the state. Governor Godwin Obaseki, who understands the importance of reaching out to the electorate to solicit votes, quickly constituted a campaign council chaired The National Vice Chairman South-South of the People's Democratic Party, Chief Dan Obi, the state governor and his deputy, Kamel Shaibu, as well as members of the campaign council, visited the 192 wards of the state to solicit votes for Governor Obaseki, as the governor also embarked on roadshow as residents of Edo State in large numbers cheered him. On September 19, 2020, voters in Edo State went to the polls to elect the candidate of their choice as the voters rejected cash inducement for votes. At the end of the election, the PDP's candidate, Governor Godwin Obaseki, won the election, defeating his closest rival of the APC, Pastor Usaige Zayamu, with over 84,000 votes. The APC and their supporters did not, however, challenge the outcome of the election, but filed a suit at the Federal High Court Abuja to challenge the eligibility of Governor Obaseki to contest the election, alleging that the governor forged his University of Ibadan graduation certificate. The judgment of the Federal High Court, which dismissed the petition, has thrown the supporters and leaders of the PDP in Edo State into jubilation. Edo State PDP chairman Dr. Tony Azingbemi and others said the victory of Governor Obaseki at the court was a reaffirmation of the landslide victory of Mr. Godwin Obaseki at the polls last year.
We are extremely happy. We think that God Almighty made this possible for us, and we're not taking this for granted at all.
We are very happy, although we envisage it, because ab initio we know there's no case there, although our brother will not understand.
I commend the judge for being upright, for doing the right thing, and I congratulate the governor again, because this should boost his morale to make him do more for Edo people, as he has already started doing.
Others called on APC members and leaders in the state to support the state governor in moving Edo State forward.
I think at this point, the APC and their leadership should actually come out and be prepared to join this government to move Edo State forward.
We are very happy and thankful to Almighty God for the resound victory. And by the grace of God, the executive governor of Edo State, who is our principal, the Governor Godwin Obaseki, is now at liberty to focus on the good governance.
The Publicity Secretary of the Caretaker Committee of APC in Edo State, Mr. Chris Azebama, said it is too premature for the PDP to be calling for the support of the APC, as the party is ready to exhaust all legal means in challenging election victory of Mr. Godwin Obaseki.
From our point of view as a political party, we believe that we have sustainable grounds for appeal, in the sense that we went to the Federal High Court Abuja with several prayers. But in his judgment, the learned judge only addressed one of the issues.
Apart from the national and state leadership and members of the People's Democratic Party who are obviously elected, at the judgment delivered by Justice Ahmed Mohammed, in which he dismissed the petition by the APC and said that Governor Godwin Obaseki was duly qualified to have contested the September 19 governorship election. The people of Edo State, no doubt, who gave the PDP and Governor Godwin Obaseki a total of 307,955 votes, representing 57.3% of the total vote cast, will no doubt be happy at the judgment and are now looking forward to Governor Godwin Obaseki to deliver on his campaign promises, in which the governor toured the 192 wards to solicit for their votes. From the Obavorame Square in Benin City, Beston Biere reporting.
Edo State government has launched a Vigilante network to strengthen the state security architecture to deliver the rising and insecurity. The Vigilante network, an initiative of the state governor, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, is a community-led effort by vigilant local communities to partner with government security agencies to provide security and protect lives and property in the state. An expert on the Vigilante scheme, Mr. Yusuf Haruna, said the new security arrangement is intended to co-opt key actors and local community to secure their spaces, gather intelligence, build trust, and ensure adequate security across the state. Mr. Haruna said that the mission of the Vigilante network is to smoke out criminals and ensure that they are not comfortable in the communities. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control has said that confirmed cases of coronavirus has risen to 100,087 in the country. This is coming 45 weeks after the country recorded its first COVID-19 cases in February 27, 2020, according to the data available on the NCDC website on Monday, January 11. Data from the NCDC's website also revealed that the country recorded 1,024 new cases in 16 states and the Federal Capital Territory in January 10, 2020. Of the new cases reported, Lagos State accounted for 653, Plateau 63, Benue 48, Zamfara 45, FCT 42, Rivers 27, Ondo 26, and Adamawa 26 cases. Others are Kaduna 22, Edo 18, Ogun 16, Imo 12, Kano 9, Yobe 6, Ekiti 5, Jigawa 4, and Oshu 2 cases. You're watching the World News on Independent Television. Still to come, Democrats prepare to impeach U.S. President over Wednesday Capitol riots. Stay tuned. Many thanks for joining us. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has shared with lawmakers plans to remove President Donald Trump from office before stating and starting an impeachment process. Rosina Verma reports that the House of Representatives would vote on a resolution calling on Vice President Mike Pence to remove Mr. Trump's presidential powers.
On Sunday, the U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi wrote to lawmakers outlining plans for a resolution to formally request that Vice President Mike Pence invoke the 25th Amendment. The move would allow Mr. Pence to become acting president and remove President Trump from the White House.
He's out of office, but there is strong support in the Congress for impeaching the president a second time.
Mr. Trump has been accused by Democrats and an increasing number of Republicans of encouraging last week Wednesday's riot in Congress, in which 5 people died. But no Republican senator have said they will vote to convict him of wrongdoing in the Senate. A second Republican senator, Pat Toomey, called for Mr. Trump to resign following the riots. However, the White House have announced that the U.S. President Donald Trump will travel to Texas on Tuesday to visit a stretch of the border wall with Mexico to highlight his administrative work there. Roslyn Evorame reporting.
Indonesia's Navy has released footage of divers searching through the wreckage of a passenger plane which crashed into the sea at the weekend as the hunt of the black box resumes. Sriwijaya Airborne 737 left Jakarta with 62 people on board but vanished from the radar on its way to Borneo Island on Saturday. Search team have already found aircraft parts and human remains. The plane's black boxes, which have been located, are yet to be recovered. One official stressed the urgency of the search mission, which resumed today, describing it as a 24-hour operation. About 2,600 personnel are currently involved in the search operation, along with dozens of boats and helicopters, which are hauling body parts, wreckage, and passengers' clothing from water about 23 meters deep. There are also more than 50 ships involved in the search for the wreckage of Flight SJ-182, along with 13 aircraft. There appears to be no hope for finding any survivors. Preliminary results suggest that the front runner in Kazakhstan's presidential election, Sandrey Japarov, have won by a landslide. Rosnarem reports that with the most ballots counted, partial results shows that Sandrey Japarov with almost 80% of the votes.
Mr. Japarov, who has served time in prison for taking a rival politician hostage, could also enjoy sweeping new presidential powers following a vote to amend the constitution. In a victory speech at his campaign headquarters in capital, Mr. Japarov promised to rule the country with an open government free of corruption. He also said he would aim to rectify Kazakhstan's economic issues within 3 to 5 years. In a referendum also on Sunday, voters opted for a presidential system that will give Mr. Japarov greater powers when a new constitution is passed, possibly later this year. Mr. Japarov, who spent 4 years in exile, was in prison until October last year. He was freed by his supporters, who had taken to the streets after a parliamentary election that was widely seen as rigged. Subsequent protests forced electoral officials to annul the result and ended up toppling the government. Mr. Jimpekov became the third president of the Central Asian states, which gained independence from the Soviet Union in 1991, to be ousted by a popular uprising since 2005. Roslyn Eworami reporting.
Spain is in a race against time to clear roads covered by heavy snow and get COVID-19 vaccines and food supplies to areas affected by Storm Filomena. As much as 20 inches of snow fell in Madrid, one of the worst-hit areas, between Friday night and Saturday. At least 4 people died and thousands of travelers were left stranded. Forecasters have warned temperatures could surge overnight on Sunday, turning the snow to perilous ice. Madrid's international airport began gradually resuming operations on Sunday afternoon, having cancelled all flights on Friday. About 500 people across the Madrid region were forced to spend the night in temporary shelters, including sports centers, after they were trapped by the whiteouts. The Spanish government said it has taken extra steps, including police-escorted convoy, to ensure its expected shipment of over 300,000 coronavirus vaccines can be distributed as planned to regional health authorities today. England's chief medical officer has warned the UK will go through the most dangerous time of the pandemic in weeks before vaccine rollout has an impact. Prof. Chris Whitty urged people to minimize all unnecessary contact. They said a new next phase will be the worst of the pandemic for the NHS. Thousands more people are due to receive a vaccine this week as 7 mass centres open across England. NHS England said hundreds more GP-led and hospital services would also open later this week. The government is aiming to vaccinate around 15 million people in the UK and over 70,000 people, health workers and those required to shield by mid-February. A billionaire diamond magnate is to go on trial in Switzerland over allegations of corruption linked to a major mining deal in Guinea. Benny Stemitz, who has Israeli and French nationality, has always denied his company paid multi-million-dollar bribe to obtain iron ore mining explorations permit in southern Guinea back in 2008. It is rare for major corruption cases to go to trial in Switzerland, where the 64-year-old is reported to be a former resident. Prosecutors spent 6 years investigating a deal that gave Mr. Stamets company rights to mine a large area of mountainous region in Simandou, which contains one of the world's biggest untapped reserves of iron ore. They accuse Mr. Stamets of winning the deal by bribing one of the 4 wives of the former Guinean President Lassana Conté and alleged forging documents to cover it up. His lawyers say he will travel from Israel to Geneva to plead his innocence. If convicted, he could face up to 10 years in prison. China has pushed back against a flurry of U.S. sanctions with new rules that protect its firms from unjustified foreign laws. Changes announced over the weekend allow Chinese accounts and pushes of companies to comply with such restrictions. U.S. President Donald Trump has continued to target Chinese companies he believes are threats to U.S. national security. Measures include punishing companies that supply parts of blacklisted firms. Today, 3 large Chinese telecom firms listed on the New York Stock Exchange are expected to see their shares delisted based on alleged ties with its military. The NYSE is removing China Mobile, China Telecom, and China Unicom Hong Kong based on an executive order signed by Mr. Trump in November. The delisting followed a raft of action against Chinese firms in recent months into TikTok and microchip maker Semiconductor Manufacturer International Corporations. The U.S. president claims such tech companies share data with Chinese governments, allegations that they have denied. U.S. President and a Trump national in Bedminster has been stripped of the U.S. PGA Championship in 2022 as its organizers felt using the course as host would be detrimental. The PGA of Africa voted to terminate the agreement on Sunday. U.S. President Donald Trump, who owns the course, has been accused by Democrats and some Republicans of encouraging last Wednesday riots in Congress. A representative for the Trump organization said they were incredibly disappointed with the decision. The course in New Jersey, one of 17 courses around the world owned by Trump, was due to host the major in May 2022. The PGA of America is now searching for a replacement host for one of the game's biggest 4 men's individual events. And to end the world news, look again at our top stories. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has shared with lawmakers plans to remove President Donald Trump from office before starting an impeachment process. The Indonesian Navy has released footage of divers searching through the wreckage of a passenger plane which crashed into the sea at the weekend as the hunt of the black box resumes. And finally, England Chief Medical Officer has warned the UK will go through the most dangerous time of the pandemic in weeks before vaccine rollout has an impact. And as it's on the world news read by Oloije Oihohai. Do have yourself a wonderful day. Bye for now.
Independent television news, truly independent.